3 years ago, I created a program that I named the China Meltdown, explaining in detail the dirty dozen or the 12 reasons why China would completely melt down and then redevelop itself into a new but also very successful China. My program, the China Meltdown, is going to be one of the most fascinating, interesting, and scary programs that I have ever done. In truth, China has been very successful and will continue to be so. But sometime after 2010 and before 2015, China is going to have a very major meltdown. The Dirty Dozen includes everything from the social crisis, the one-child policy, the health crisis, the environment crisis, the manufacturing crisis that is happening right now with the shortage of labor. Can you imagine a shortage of labor in a country with 1.3 billion people? And yet that is happening right now. The environmental crisis, and on and on and on. The success of China has actually helped to drive some of these meltdown factors. The Chinese government has done a very good job of managing China, but the China economy is so superheated that it could melt down for no other reason than the fact that the economy is too hot. The Dirty Dozen is an important look at China so that you know how to position your corporation to understand what's going to happen before the meltdown, during the meltdown, and after the meltdown. The date is after 2010. Why? Because in 2008, China will have the Global Olympics, probably one of the most significant and great Olympics of all times. In 2010 in Shanghai, China will host the World Expo. So I guarantee you nothing bad is going to happen in China until after these staging events that are creating the image of today's new China. But remind yourself to look ahead, because the Chinese meltdown will occur. Position yourself to be ready to take advantage of the meltdown when it does happen, so you're even in a greater growth and profit opportunity after the meltdown and the recovery starts. Many executives from around the world have asked me in a Q&A period why this meltdown is going to occur and what are the most significant factors to make this meltdown occur. Number one of the significant factors deals with the Chinese development model. I was just in Shanghai where I listened to the Chinese government officials explain the new China development model. You see, the old China development model, which is based on the idea of cheap labor and constant flows of cheap labor over many, many years, is really not a sustainable development model economically for any country. And the truth is today that that China model is already dead, because they do not have a supply of total labor that is cheap. The labor supply is actually shrinking, and at the same time, the labor supply price is going up. And since China is copying the Japan development model, you can see from history that the Japanese development model also was not sustainable. So the very development model of China is changing. Unless you know what the new development model of China is, you cannot position your organization for growth and profit in the China market. One of the other very significant factors in the China meltdown is the stock market system and the banking system of both Hong Kong and China. Understand that Hong Kong is still the legal, financial, accounting center of all of Asia, and especially of China. So whatever happens in the Hong Kong market or the Shanghai market or Shenzhen market is very significant for the entire country. When I was in Shanghai last week, they had Black Thursday. I was sitting there watching the Hang Seng market and the Shanghai market and the Shenzhen market crash to the ground. And for the first time in the history of the world, a Chinese stock market crash reverberated around the globe, and in each time zone had a serious negative effect on every stock market in the world, including the United States stock markets. The frantic nature of the China stock markets makes them very turbulent, very successful, very dangerous. Right before the crash, the most incredible thing was going on. 90,000 Chinese people per day were opening up brand new stock accounts to allow them to be in the Chinese stock market. The stock markets and the banks are a serious factor in the meltdown for the China of tomorrow.